Waking with a start, Lu Wujiang leapt up and clutched his face. He remembered his computer exploding next to his face. So how was he alive? Looking around, he was no longer in his room. Instead, he was on a patch of cool, gentle grass. That suddenly stopped a handful of meters in a circle around him. Next to him was a crystal orb and 2 books. One he recognized. Materials in You, the basic starting book from a Minecraft mod, Tinker's Construct. Picking up the orb he released, it was from another mod. MCA, or Minecraft Comes Alive. Waking around the circle of grass, Wujiang reached outside to the barren wasteland. As he did, the earth shook. The sky around him turned a blood red, and black lightning crackled, some hitting the sandy soil near him, creating puddles of molten glass. Quickly pulling his hand back, he stepped away from the border instinctually. In the distance, he saw a few dead trees, but he couldn't reach them. The circle was 52 feet in diameter, give or take. It had a cool breeze, green, gentle grass, and that was it. No trees, no flowers, nothing to start crafting with. Sighing, Lu Wujiang began to experiment to see what he could do. After a while, he realized if he imagined using a keyboard or something similar, he opened his inventory, collect and store items, and much more. Seeing as the button inputs weren't limited by his human form, which was, as he realized, a blank white humanoid form, he could input impossible combinations and do insane feature of speed, agility, and dexterity. He also realized that he could use items like the crystal orb by thinking about it, and so he used it. As it shattered into particles, a white-purple fog swirled around him. Lu Wujiang was suddenly in a character customization menu with a lot of insane settings and stats swirling around him. He didn't know what mods they were from, or if they were a part of his new world, but he took days in this timeless place to creature his perfect form. After applying the skill points, Lu Wujiang scanned through the instant houses. Lu Wujiang found one that was like a large Chinese castle and clicked it. While the building itself was outside his world border and thusly didn't exist yet, the castle ground near him had something he needed. A tree. Going over, he punched the tree hard, and while it hurt, it didn't take away HP for the first few punches. After it took a small amount each attack, but soon he was able to get it to fall over. Collecting the wood, Lu Wujiang rubbed his injured hand gently to dull the pain rushing through it. The place where his blood dripped onto spouted a small red flower, which shocked Lu Wujiang, leaving that for now. He created the basic tools and unlocked achievements for them. Going back to the settings menu, he opened the mod adder and scanned until he found the mod he wanted most, JEI, and used 5 mod points to download it. Now he had all the knowledge on how to craft any item he want, though right now all he could make were basic tools. Sighing, he realized, if achievements didn't expand his world's border, then leveling up did. Digging down in a spiral, Lu Wujiang was able to collect coal, iron ore, stone, and ran into other insane and obviously modded ores, which he couldn't mine yet, so he ignored. Stopping right before a level up, he climbed out and set up a furnace to smelt some iron. As he leveled up from the iron smelting, he watched as his single circular chuck border expanded, the green grass instantly growing over the no longer barren, ashy soil. With a smile, Lu Wujiang thought to himself, "It's like I became a god, or an immortal being." Quickly returning to the mine, Lu Wujiang planned on expanding his world's border as much as he could while mining precious and much-needed resources. Meanwhile, in a nearby village, the village elder sent his 4 youngest sons off in each cardinal direction in order to find food or water. This year, barely any rain had fallen, even less than the last, and many villagers were near death's door, especially the young and elderly. Giving Bai Chen a handful of grain and a small water skin, his father asked him to go out and look for a water source. With a somber and solemn expression, he marched east toward the rising sun. Back with Lu Wujiang, he had set up a singular water block and let it flow outside his world border to test its effects. Unlike in the game, the water didn't have a finite radius inside or outside his border, and a single block could be used to fill buckets and bottles if he used the flowing water. Experimenting with the water, he found that if he built a stone wall and placed the source block up to flow into the stone basin, the water never overflowed, making a small natural-looking water spring with the source block. Lu Wujiang created a stone basin around the size of a large bathtub. Cleaning himself in the water was nice and cool, and the water itself never seemed too dirty or muddy.
Throwing a handful of dirt into the water, the dirt vanished as if by magic. Though other items didn't vanish. Experimenting more, Lu Wujiang realized he could retract his wings, making them vanish. He also realized his large castle was a small hut for now, and assumed that it would grow, thusly becoming a larger size each time more room was created in his world. As Lu Wujiang experimented with the new rules of his new world, Baichen was unknowingly drawing closer to him. Soon he crossed the small hill, which took much effort, after 3 days of walking nearly non-stop. Baichen was exhausted, thirsty, out of food and water. Lu Wujiang gave a hum as he noticed someone walking towards his lands, only to panic when that person collapsed and rolled down the rocky hill about 45 feet away. Rushing to the border, Lu Wujiang suddenly stopped, then gritted his teeth and ran as fast as he could to the man. The blood-red sky and black lightning worsening each step outside his border he took. Grabbing the unconscious man, he ran back to his grassy circle and watched as the world returned to normal slowly. Sighing softly out of relief, Lu Wujiang carried the man near the water and gently fed him small handfuls. The man unconsciously drank as the sweet spring water touched his tongue. Baichen slowly woke up and pushed himself up off the grassy ground in shock, his hair flowing over his face in places. Looking down, Baichen blushed at the state of his clothes and instantly covered his chest. He'd always been a feminine boy, and the recent famine had made his feminine features much more pronounced due to the thinning of his body. Many travelers even offered food and drink for a fun night with him, not caring if he was a man in the end due to his cute and feminine appearance. Lu Wujiang, noticing his guest was awake, walked over and handed the feminine man an apple, which he ate like a person possessed, the large red fruit vanishing quickly. Handing his a bowl of water, it too was gone in a flash. Baichen, tea, thank you. Who are you? Are you an immortal being? A god? Lu Wujiang, I suppose you can call me that. I am Lu Wujiang, though many call me Lord Wujiang. Baichen, immortal Lord Lu Wujiang, may I please ask of you for some food and water? My village is in dire need of both. The elderly, women, and children are all on death's door. Baichen slammed his head to the ground, prostrating himself as hard as he could to this immortal being. Lu Wujiang gave a soft, sad smile and wandered off, before returning with a small grass basket and small leather pouch. Lu Wujiang, this isn't much, but use sparingly. This should be enough food and water for a few days. Deliver it to your village and 2 men back with you. I'll prepare more. Baichen was almost in tears, but Lu Wujiang stopped his crying and told him to save the water he had inside him for the journey back. Thanking Lu Wujiang, Baichen rushed off, taking the small gifts that held impossible amounts of food and water. Although for now the only food Lu Wujiang had were apples, thanks to creating an apple tree and getting bone meal. Baichen was ecstatic. He had met a descended immortal, and even got food and water for his village. With newfound energy he made it back to his village in a single day, and began to give out the much-needed food and water. Shocked at the amount the small basket and pouch held, each large bottle of water was enough for around 4 people, and the small pouch seemed to have endless bottles of clear crystal glass. Each apple was large enough 2 people could share and be decently fed. And more apples came out of the small basket. Truly this was the work of an immortal god. Baichen had no doubts, and as he continued to pull out more bottles and apples, neither did the villagers. His father, the village elder, praised him, as did his brothers, though it was with sad news. His twin brother had been gravely injured. Baichen rushed to his twin, and planning to give him a proper meal before his death, fed him as many apples as he wanted and could eat, along with a whole 2 bottles of water, a great last meal after not eating for weeks. As Baichen got up to leave, he heard a groan. Turning, he saw the wounds on Haichen healing as if by magic. Soon Haichen was left panting and laying on the bed in a confused daze. Haichen, brother? Have you came to greet me in the land of the dead? Baichen jumped onto his twin and hugged them tight, tight enough to hurt. Baichen, thank you, immortal Lord Lu Wujiang. My brother, my girly little twin, is alive and well. Haichen gasped in offense and smacked Bai's back hard, making him jump back in pain. Haichen, I guess I'm not dead then if you can make such jokes. Also, brother, to point of fact, you boobs are bigger than mine. Hai pointed angrily at Bai. Before the two began laughing, soon everyone in the village learned of Lu Wujiang's magical food, and began to worship him as a true immortal god who had descended from the heavens. Meanwhile, Lu Wujiang was grinding wheat and apples to give to Bai Chen and whomever else he brought back with him, all the while expanding his fertile land with each level up, which had begun to slow down, as the creep of EXP to level up grew higher and higher. Soon Lu Wujiang had more than enough to give to the 3 villagers that would be coming. Though not knowing how long it would take, he decided to take the time to clear out the caves of monsters in order to level up quicker and expand his world border. By now he was level 10, almost 11, and had the same number of chunks as level. It seemed consistent, though he wondered if using his EXP would shrink his border or not. It was likely it would. Sighing lightly, Lu Wujiang suddenly remembered his quest book and began to go through it, unlocking more levels, reaching level 20 and getting better resources. He noticed in the back of the book he could buy plants and rare resources with levels. Wanting to test his theory, he bought a pear tree, and the circle shrank back down the green grass, turning yellow and brown quickly. Lu Wujiang, I see, so I was right. The level controls the size of my territory. I wonder. Minecraft's levels are basically infinite. Could I unlock other planets to explore later if I'm high enough level? Pushing that thought aside, he wondered how the Nether worked, or the End, or any of the other realms' dimensions he could go to or unlock. He sighed and went back to his house, which had grown a lot, and laid to rest. While he didn't need sleep, it felt nice to rest in bed and let himself sleep. When he woke up, Lu Wujiang sat up and stretched lightly, his bones popping. As he walked around the new perimeter of the world border, he noticed he was nearly to a dried river. Gravel and sand was nearly in his grasp. Thinking about it, Lu Wujiang thought about it. If he could get to the river, he could help nearby villages by making a new water source. He hummed lightly and returned to his home, trying to think a way to level up quickly. Flipping through the quest book, he picked a few easy quests that gave EXP instead of items to do. With a sigh, he realized if he had explored before, he could have already made a new water source for the nearby people and gotten the river flowing again, but instead now he had to get more EXP and level up a few more times. Meanwhile, back in Chen village, the elder was readying Bai, and Kai-Chen, his 3 youngest sons, to go and meet with the immortal Lord Lu Wujiang. While poor, the village had small gold ores and some silver they could use as a thank you for the food. With gold and silver in hand, the 3 nodded and began their journey, though one thing bugged Bai Chen. Bai, hi. Why are you in female garb? Hi, this was the best clothing I had to wear. If you're meeting an immortal god, I want to look my best. Plus I think I pull it off nicely. Kai, hey Bai, maybe you should wear something similar. If you or Hai can seduce the immortal, I bet he'll become our guardian deity. Bai stammered and spit curses, while blushing heavily. Hai giggled and pulled out a silken dress for Bai to wear. Before thinking about it, and stripping, Hai then slipped on some normal clothing and said it would be best not to dirty his good dress. Bai sighed as Kai pressured him to wear the other silken dress. And eventually Bai agreed, a smile painting his brothers' faces.